I'm not gonna act like we haven't already done salam and whatever, because we literally did about 5 minutes ago, and also we only met yesterday, as in we chilled, we hung out yesterday.
Yeah, that's right, man.
So yeah,
I would say we had an adventure yesterday, man.
Yeah, man.
We ventured out, man.
So
to the peak.
So just to give a bit of context, so a couple of months ago, we started doing hiking, and the long story short is that we went to Cader Idris last month, and then this month's hike was which one was it?
This one was Edale.
Yeah, Edale in Peak District by Sheffield. So Abdul's in our hiking group. I'm in his hiking group. So that's been our challenges lately. How did you find that, by the way?
Yeah, man. It's since the first one, Cader Idris, I've just been felt like, yeah, man, just on it, and the momentum of being looking forward to the next one. I'm looking forward to it even more.
Yeah, because you done quite well at Cader Idris.
Yeah,
and you was obviously in the top tier group, which included myself yesterday as well. But not gonna lie, it was quite easy, this one.
Yeah.
This week.
And that's one thing I really like about the hiking group that we're in, because 1 month is quite difficult, medium to difficult, and then the other month is like easy to medium.
Bro, did you see in the group today they were discussing that crib gotch, was it?
Oh yeah, that crib.
Yeah, the one. It's like a mountain. It's like a knife edge from the top. I was watching some videos on it, bro. It's so scary, man. And I was like, straight away, I forwarded that onto my other motive group, and I was like, we're not doing this one. It's quite dangerous. It's for like pro people, but we'll do the ones that they decide, like the social ones.
Yeah.
So they came up with Brecon Beans. So that's the one coming up next. But anyway, I didn't actually introduce you. And I'm going to spend like 30 seconds on it.
Cool.
Because, yeah. So Abdul Muhit, basically we met in secondary school. I think it was year 8. No, year 7 it might have been.
Year 7.
Miss Peggy's class, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and one of the first Bengali brothers I met in secondary school. Good mates for a while. Obviously, we went the same college as well.
Yeah.
You were doing engineering. At the time I was doing IT, I think.
Yeah.
And I think did you leave engineering at some point, or did you complete it?
I completed it.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, I basically after then I didn't know what, like, because I wanted to go into Formula 1.
Yeah.
And they basically didn't give me a shot.
Yeah, so college was a bit of a blur.
Yeah, and then since after that, then I started working. So I started working in retail and stuff for a little while. And
yeah, exactly.
That's when we kind of, I think, went our ways.
Yeah, because you got married and stuff.
Yeah.
On a quiet one, and so yeah, so I met you again last year. Or has it been less? No, it might have been this year. But yeah, we bumped into each other in the gym again. And
that's
he was
right.
talking about how we're going to do workouts together, this, that, the other.
Yeah,
obviously,
gym buddies.
Yeah,
and stuff
gym
like
buddy.
that.
But obviously, I'm a bit of a flop, so it didn't
I
really.
was supposed to be the fish here, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so let's talk about that then. The married, and okay, not the married bit, but essentially what I wanted to talk to you about today was the life as a young parent. Now, obviously, you're a young parent. Wakar, he's a standard parent, right? You're 27?
27, yeah.
27 years old, so that's about the age, innit? But you
how old are you?
I'm 26.
26, so next year.
Bro, I'd say that's,
I was married
that's
at the
No, not
subjective.
next year.
Yeah.
That's subjective. 27. I think 27 is still in the category
But-
of being young parent. I mean, I don't
but
know,
in
feel
the
free.
Asian community, 27 is an age where you're married and you have your first child, or 25 is the age where you're married and you have your child a couple of years later or whatever. That's been like the de facto. Obviously, as we growing, as the society's growing, people are getting married later on.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they're having kids later on as well, for various reasons. But yeah, so you had you were married at age
I was married at age 18.
18, and you had your first child
And when I was 20.
20. Okay. So talk us through that, man. How, I mean, you don't have to go too deep into it, but how did the sort of marriage come about? Because your missus is slightly older than you, right?
Yeah.
And you obviously were, if you got married at 18, what were you thinking? Like, not in a not in a rude way, by the way. Like
cool.
that was like
Taken.
compared to all of us mates. Like
Yeah.
we knew one day we are gonna get married, inshallah, but we never thought it'd be like that soon for any of us.
Yeah. Basically, where should I start from the marriage, right? Yeah, it was really quite. The marriage was quite. Well, I'd say, got to met her. Where I met her was at the Feel Fit gym, Muay Thai, and then from then on, that's how I got to know her and who she was, kind of thing. And after that, really, we for about like a year, like just under a year, I got to know each other, kind of thing. And then we thought, okay, well, we want to keep it like kind of halal, and kept the relationship kind of like halal as possible, so we could keep the, like, you know, doing it Islamic way. So that's when I thought I'd get married. But during that time of my life, I wasn't. That's the thing. I wasn't in contact with you. I wasn't in contact with, like, you know, all the guys that I'm in contact with now. Only like basically one mate that I invited. I kept it really small, very tiny. And my social circle then was quite small, because I didn't really like go to uni.
Did that have an effect on your decision to get married? Because you say you had limited number of friends, or like next to nothing. And you needed like that sort of companionship, or that like.
Are you saying that he was a loner?
I'm not saying
bro.
no. I'm not saying he was a loner. I'm saying, was that an influential factor in you decided to get married? Because like you had lost touch with your friends. You like, I don't know. Like, do you know what I'm trying to say? Like,
I hear where you're coming from, bro. Like, given that my circumstances, like on my social circle of friends, should I say, it was quite small. Like I probably had like about a few friends then, like I could tell, like, you know, and talk to about it, kind of thing. And that I was comfortable like talking and asking them advice, kind of thing, and considering obviously, like, you know, the differences of ethnicity and the background and everything.
Because your wife's a different ethnic background to you. That must have been challenging.
I'm Bengali, and then she's like half Pakistani, and like, you know, quarter English and then quarter Mexican. And then that was quite difficult for that news was quite difficult for, like, you know, my parents to like actually digest, because given that Bengali, where we're from, Bengalis, specifically speaking, my parents had envisioned me to get married to a Bengali.
Naturally
from back
they
home.
would.
Not from England. They're specifically saying that we want you to get married to someone from back home. But that was like their vision.
No, I agree, because when we were younger, we sort of had the same outlook, where one day we're gonna get married. She'll definitely be Pakistani, and she'll definitely be from back home, and it would definitely be an arranged marriage. But a lot of us guys, like, we're breaking the mold essentially, and that comes with its own challenges.
For sure, bro.
You being that young, did you face any socioeconomic issues?
Okay, socioeconomic issues.
Do you want me to define that?
No, it's cool. Basically, because we obviously eventually chose to get married, and given that I was 18 that I got married, I was turning 9. I was going to be, like, you know, turning 19. Not until long to when I was going to turn 19 at the end of my 18 years. At that time, because I was working, so I had a bit of savings then, because since leaving college I started working. So And since then, since then I had a bit of time to save up money. And but when we planned the wedding like wasn't really big or anything. It was an intimate wedding. It only
that's usually the case with like you said she was quarter English, right?
Yeah,
like their weddings are they're small, they're intimate.
Yeah,
the people there are only the people that they want
exactly
to have there,
not like extended families, friends,
not like
or
us.
like the villages, like, you know, or people who you know, or like, you know, or friends. But yeah, I mean, that was like, it was quite intimate. There was about I'd say 70 odd people, so really small wedding, and had a couple of my friends and her friends as well, and that was it was small and nice and intimate, and it was enjoyable. Financially, I'd say it was we kept within our means, and it wasn't like, we kept within our means. It wasn't like we didn't spend like the normal amount. Well, back then the normal amount would have been £12,000 or something, but on a wedding.
Is that
in 2012? On that type of wedding, we literally, what we done was because we was so like asked them for people, because we were so short for money. Like, you know, we didn't have because my parents weren't like, you know, I didn't expect money from my family or anyone, but at the same time I didn't expect that, okay, well, I was going to get married at young age, or decided to get married at young age, because I didn't have that enough savings where I could do like a traditional wedding and spend like an average in June 2012. Back then was like the £12,000 like average.
It's a lot higher now.
Yes, it's about like 20, isn't it? 20,
I'd say
25.
Yeah.
And so that was it was in itself a challenge, but what we decided to do was actually not do a traditional wedding. We mixed it up by doing like, okay, we said to people, you guys are gonna like pay for your food. This is what we could afford, but at the same time we're gonna pay for, like, you know, some of the place, like, you know, the decor and everything.
The guests had to pay for food.
Yeah.
How is that normal?
How did you manage to convince them to do that?
Basically,
because I think that's awesome.
That is pretty awesome.
Because it was everyone was quite understanding of our situation. We told them, look, we're short of money. We haven't got a lot of money. Yeah. Literally.
How much was the ticket to your wedding?
The ticket, bro. That's the Willy Wonka ticket, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, honestly, it was like, you know, we convinced people by just saying, like, you know, we spoke to them and we just sent them, like, you know, like we told them by word of mouth, like mouth, saying that, you know what, like before we sent the invitations out, it was like because we had like a get together kind of thing.
I'll sort it.
And we told them that, oh, okay, well, we'd appreciate if, like, you know, our situation is like quite difficult financially, so we'd appreciate if everyone could like, you know, pay for their own food.
Okay.
You could bring people who want to, like, because obviously from her side of the family who are like not non-Muslim, people who want to drink, they can bring their own drinks, kind of thing.
Do you have any resistance?
Well,
especially like, if I'm sat at home and I receive a wedding card, and it says like it's a bring your own food policy or bring your own drink policy. Straight away I'm like, is this a wedding?
I know what you mean. In comparison to a traditional wedding, like traditionally speaking, that like food's paid for, drinks, like, you know, non-alcoholic
and
drinks.
We just like recover our money through like Nindra and stuff like that.
What's Nindra?
You know, when you go to a wedding, give like £20 or £50.
Bhaji?
Nah, not Bhaji. You know, Nindra. It's called something in like some.
Oh,
you know
like
what
a
Nindra
gift.
is?
Oh,
that
no
money.
idea,
oh
bro.
yeah. Because on our cards we have no box gifts.
No bucks. So
Yeah,
they
yeah.
give money, but I think it's called Nindra or.
That sounds like an Indian thing, man.
Oh, bro, there's definitely a
Gifts?
Punjabi-
Is it like just gifts for
No,
money?
it's money. It's like you literally give money.
You don't have to, but
But it's optional. Like you
it's
know,
not. It's not optional either. But it's a given. It's a
Then
given.
what is it? What would you class it
As in, you don't have to
It's like-
culturally.
yeah.
No, culturally you kind of have to.
Yeah,
But
there's a
it's like-
pressure. There's a societal pressure for people to come and give you that money.
If you don't give the money, then it's a bit. It's not wrong. I wouldn't say it's wrong. It's just
People would just be
Look,
like,
Is it frowned upon?
yeah.
Basically
yeah.
frowned upon.
Yeah.
they'd be like, yeah, you're just coming to our wedding to be like a free rider.
Okay.
So it's like-
yeah.
Which is I don't like that, to be honest, because like
I can hear you chewing.
Is that bro.
yeah, no, because I think that when you have a wedding and you invite people, it should be sort of it should be for like you're catering to them. They're guests. They're your guests. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it shouldn't really be like, oh yeah, come to our
I've
wedding.
always
but
thought
give
I prefer box gifts though. Like imagine someone giving you a box gift and it's like a watch or like
yeah, and then imagine another person giving you a watch, and
And
another
it's
person
chocolates.
giving you a watch, and then a chocolate, and then flowers, and then next minute you go to your home and it's a botanical gardens.
okay, that's quite interesting, man.
That's
I didn't even know it was a thing.
that's crazy.
Saying that, bro, it's interesting. Like traditionally speaking, that people like do that. It felt weird in the sense that because we can't provide for the food, because generally you're supposed to provide the food for all of the guests.
How many
And-
guests did you have?
70. Yeah, and it wasn't many guests, but like it was, considering that it was a small wedding, so yeah, it just felt weird that I couldn't provide it, and I was 18, so and I wanted to get married. I had the option of like I could have waited longer, but at the same time, waiting it out, that was another decision in itself, and another kind of worms like to open it up, and I didn't want it to become like I wanted to keep it Islamic and halal.
So once you got married, where were you living?
We was living in basically a flat in Headington,
Okay,
and
and
it was a 1 bedroom flat.
And
You
how-
were paying for it.
Yeah, it was
Rent,
paying rent.
rent,
Yeah.
yeah.
Huh.
So how long after did you have your first child?
So that was
Yeah, the
what-
21.
Yeah, so 2014. So
2
when I was
years
20.
Yeah.
So 2 years after
Mm.
into the marriage, we had our first child called Azan,
Mashallah.
and
Yeah.
he was born during Ramadan. Hence the name we named him like Azan, because he was born just after Fajr prayer.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's
That's-
interesting
that's-
you mentioned the age because in like the early 20s, typically is seen as the years to like where people find themselves, where people have like a lot of goals and ambitions. And do you like looking back at it now, do you feel like you missed out on that?
At
'Cause,
that,
like,
at that point,
Because
in
the
my
thing
life-
is, like, at that age,
Yeah.
generally people don't have massive responsibilities. Marriage is a massive responsibility.
yeah,
And then
yeah.
on top of that, having a kid is an even bigger responsibility. So
Mm.
do you feel like you missed out? Like,
It was it was against the the tradition way of doing things. Like you go to, if you don't go uni, at that point I didn't envision myself going to uni, because I kind of lost the drive after college, personally speaking, and I didn't know which direction I was going to be going to, in terms of education wise. But I kind of refound myself. But I felt like when I met like Gemma, and in that sense, I didn't have ambition to study, but I just thought, okay, well, I'm okay, providing, happy at that moment. But when my first child came along, things changed drastically. And when I mean drastically, it's quite 360. That's when it got me thinking, like, okay, well, I could be working in BMW at that point. At that time I was working in BMW at the BMW factory. It was, for a factory job, it was the highest paid job in UK. Second highest paid after all, first of Rolls-Royce. And then it was as a decent amount of wage, like, it was like a normal, like, salary, like salary wage. It gives you like a okay, comfortable life to live. And I questioned myself, thinking, can I see myself just working? There's people there who's happily worked there for like 30 years, 35 years, raising family kind of thing. It was the norm kind of thing. Can I see myself doing that? And when I had Azan, I was just thinking, actually, I started to deeply, profoundly think about my future. And then after that, that's when it got me thinking, okay, well, let me see. And I couldn't see myself in BMW working, doing the job that I was doing. So I thought, okay, let's go back and see where I am at academically, go back to college and go from there and figure things out. So I decided, when Azan was born, it was quite ambitious actually of me, looking back now. When he was born, on the 28th of June, soon after, I enrolled myself on September on that year, 2014, on an access course, access to higher education, which was healthcare profession. And I saw myself doing sciences, more interested in sciences, because I also worked in a hospital when I left my Tesco job, and that kind of opened up avenues for, like, okay, well, I could see myself working in a physio, people's person. So I kind of find myself, because I drifted away from engineering and doing had ambition working in Formula 1. And I kind of romanticized that. I felt like I over romanticized that. That's when I kind of started working in different various jobs. That's when the healthcare profession inspiration kind of set in. And then I thought, okay, well, I could see myself doing that. Let's start by doing that. Let's see where I'm at academically. Done that, and I'd done better than I thought I expected myself to do. So, and alhamdulillah, since then on, that's when I started my journey for education, and that's when I got myself back on. I'm like, okay, my drive and ambition set in, the foundation of it. And considering I had Azan, it was really difficult, but at the same time, it really disciplined me as a person. And I'm speaking for myself, from my experience.
No, you know what?
That's me.
Yeah.
And
so you don't feel like you missed out too much, because say when you were about to get married and when you had your child, you didn't have no ambition for studying.
Yeah.
You felt like you was going nowhere. And marriage was the focal point for you at the time.
Yeah. At that time.
And then if you look back on it now, you're obviously thinking, okay, those, say, 3-4 years, that gap in between, you would have done nothing. You probably would have got fell off track. You would have gone into other things. So do you think marriage saved you from that then, and having children saved you from that, because you were looking at a black wall, so to speak?
Yes and no at the same time, because I say that because I don't, the eventualities or the turns that it could have had, I don't know. But because the choices that I made during that time to get married at a young age, it did give me a focal point to focus on and obviously build my life. And obviously it wasn't a traditional way of getting a job or doing a degree or studying or whatever, apprenticeship or whatever it is, and then getting a job, settling down, and then getting married, and then thinking of like, having kids. It wasn't that traditional way. It was more so of, okay, well, things weren't working out for me, wasn't going my way, and then just decided to get married, and I felt like I wanted to get married as well. I thought, well, okay, we'll have a companion, get married. But at the same time, saying that, I don't know if I chose not to get married, I don't know what could have turned out, because during that moment, I could have been just working, and then could have had other opportunities. Allahu alam.
Yeah, you know what? They have this like you keep mentioning the traditional way. Like go through uni, finish uni, find a graduate job, and then work your way up. And then because obviously when you go to a girl's house and ask for her hand in marriage, her parents expect that. They expect you to be on a certain wage and stuff. But back in the days, this is how it was. Getting married actually brought upon those responsibilities. So it wasn't like I need to work my way up to get married. It was like I'm at an age where I have certain needs. I need to get married. That brings on certain responsibilities, and then you sort of mature a lot earlier. That's how it was back in the days. Obviously, nowadays it's changed a bit. I don't think there's it should. I don't think kids nowadays, they shouldn't really, if they feel like they need to get married, I don't think they should wait to finish uni or whatever. I don't think things like ambition and career, I don't think it finishes as you get married, like the way you were saying,
No, but it's not the married bit, it's the parenting bit, having kids. I've got a question here, yeah, and I didn't come up with this myself. I actually I was speaking to someone yesterday after the hike, and we was talking about goals, ambitions, having kids and stuff like that, and they came up with this question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read it out word for word. Yeah.
Cool.
There's a lot of young married couples that say their careers will be affected or will take a back seat. Now, did you feel your dreams and ambitions had to come to a stop or a hold because of the responsibility of being a young parent? Shall I read it out again?
In fact, it was the opposite.
Okay, go on, explain.
And what I mean by that is it actually motivated me and drove me to become and want more, in the sense that, okay, well, I have a child now. I have a human being that's I'm like a guardian over, and who's depending on me.
You need to do more.
And I need to do more. I need to I want to provide, and I want not just do more, but I want to be a good role model.
Yeah.
And it set the bar for me. And it wasn't
I think the drive is different as well.
The drive is different, I agree.
Because you're no longer pursuing your career for yourself. You're pursuing something to provide for someone else. So it's like extra pressure, but at the same time, you're more driven.
Totally. It's like a laser, it's a laser being sharpened even more. And it's the precision of it is just like, okay, well, so I need to do this. And whether or not, if you don't know what you want to do, I kind of figured that out. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but I was like, okay, I could figure it out accordingly as I go along. I know I want to pursue something, so I started by seeing where I was at academically, because it was quite a while, a couple of years out of education. So I thought, well, it's a good starting point.
You went back to uni after you had Azan, or
I went back to college after I had Azan, because that's when, along my access course, along my access course, I was just working as well and looking after Azan, and that was really challenging. And I would.
What made you have your second child if it was that challenging with the first?
The second child was The second child, when I had Rayhan, I had him during uni time. So when I was studying optometry in Northern Ireland, and that was due to various reasons, and I won't delve in too deep about that. But that was due to just like from Gemma's side of point of view, it was she wanted another child, and she was quite yearning to have another child. But I was like, hold your horses. Let's
stand on our feet with the
let's
first one.
stand on our feet with the two first one, and let me finish the degree. Let's think this through. Yada yada yada.
Was she working at the time, or was she just like sitting at home?
She was looking for work in Northern Ireland. The nearest, given her background of work and where she came from, she studied psychology and visual arts, and the job that she was looking for was in the health sector jobs. And they were in Belfast, so that was like about an hour and a bit away, and she didn't want to, it was a bit too much commuting for her, so it was quite difficult to find any jobs for her.
Plus having a 2-year-old
Yeah.
is a full-time job.
Yeah, and
for a mother.
For a mother, that's a full-time job itself. So she as much as she wanted to work, but it's just given the circumstances, she wasn't able to work. She wasn't able to work in a job that she wanted to.
So what would you say that So what would you say that your right now? Would you say that your ambitions and your drive right now with 2 children, compared to when you finished college, when you were young and full of energy, you're still young and full of energy. Yeah, what I meant to say was when you were younger.
Thanks, bro. I feel like
how would you compare it?
Okay. I feel like it's tweaked. It's tweaked in a sense that I'm more critical and analytical of the way I think and the way I carry myself. But in terms of and the energy and compartmentalizing things, before I wasn't able to do that as much. Learning how to prioritize things at an early age, that made me grow up a lot faster.
Yeah.
And able to do and have commitments and stuff. Not just one commitment, you had dependence and the all other commitments and everything else. And that was in itself, it made me into more of a character I am today and shaped me who I am today.
Because you seem quite well spoken and quite knowledgeable. When you say things there's
you speak like a philosopher.
you can hear the wisdom.
Thank you.
So it doesn't seem like you're just, because right now you're studying at Northampton, aren't you?
Yeah, Northampton. Podiatry.
Podiatry.
Feet doctor, for those who don't know.
Anyone got smelly feet? Come my way.
Yeah. So I would looking from the outside. I would say that you're commuting to Northampton. You're making a commitment. You've got children. You've got 2 kids.
Yeah.
I'd say that you're more driven now than you were before. Would that be accurate? Because that's quite a commitment.
Yeah, that is a commitment in itself, and given the circumstances as well, it is a commitment, and it has grounded me in the sense, okay, what do I really want, and what am I going to actually sacrifice, and obviously where am I going to put my energy and time into, and I meticulously thought that, okay, well, if I'm going to commit, because I'm a type of person of, if I commit to something, I full-heartedly do it. So I thought, well, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do. And I really, for example, podiatry, I really enjoy studying podiatry. I didn't expect I was going to enjoy as much as I thought I would enjoy. As much as it's hard in terms of volume and quantity and stuff and whatnot, putting that to the side, I think podiatry as a career is quite interesting, more than meets the eye.
Yeah.
It's not
What was your dream job when you were younger?
dream job.
What did you want to be?
Younger, as in when I was like a kid, as in like, or when I was just like when I was going into adolescence, just before that.
That one.
Adolescent. Okay. Formula One.
Formula One. Okay.
Formula One.
And before that?
Before that, can't remember.
I didn't have a.
The
Before that
reason
was
why
like-
I asked, the reason why I ask is because you had that dream for the Formula One job around, and which is the reason why you were studying, engineering at school, at college, sorry. And then came along your marriage life,
Yeah.
the start of it. So did that like take away a bit of the focus towards that dream job of yours?
No.
But
I know you said,
Are
like-
you saying? Are you trying to say that when he was fully focused to, he
To
made
the Formula One job, and because you said you lost the ambition for study.
Yeah.
But was that whilst you were meeting your future wife?
No. That was, I lost the ambition to study because of the Formula One. So
So you realise it's not as glorified as it is.
yeah.
Did you actually try? Did you apply and stuff?
I did apply, like, and I applied, I went there, kind of thing, and just
Rejection.
just rejection,
Yeah.
and especially at that young age,
Yeah.
at the of getting rejected, and I didn't. One thing, if I could go back in time and tell myself, is like keep trying, but also have people around you who are going to support you. At that time, my circle of friends were really limited. I didn't reach out, they were busy, but at the same time I didn't have that like connection of, okay, well, do you know what, just keep trying, do something else. That's what I would have done.
But now that you study is that how you pronounce it?
Podiatry, yeah.
Podiatry. Would you go back and change, if you could, to Formula One? If you were to switch today, if you were given the option,
yeah.
would you do that?
I could say alhamdulillah, I'm content in what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
So
don't
that's
forget,
what
he
I-
was doing optometry before podiatry.
Yeah.
And that
You
that was,
told me yesterday that you found that quite boring.
yeah, that was monotonous, and just routine work, only if you work in franchises. But however, saying that, if you go into hospital, like London Moorfield's the top one, or if you go into Cardiff or Liverpool, they're very uber competitive. And when I mean competitive, they're like super competitive to get into. And there you do various things. You work with kids, you do different stuff, and work with surgeons, and you get to do a variety of things, not just testing eyes all day long, or just selling glasses. And I couldn't see myself doing that. A lot of the optometrists that I met, spoke to, some of them weren't happy or with the job itself. It was just the job satisfaction.
If I was to go into the health sector,
yeah,
I'd probably go into like physiotherapy or physiology.
I thought of that. Do you know what? That,
And are they still doing those free NHS sponsorships for
no
physiotherapists?
No, they done.
Oh,
that.
well
They-
done, Rogard.
It's easier for you.
For those who can't see us, he just dropped like chocolate peanuts, but oh well.
But yeah, no, they stopped that. They stopped that quite a while. I think it was 2016 or 17. So yeah, that's it. It's been a little while.
That's
But-
crazy.
Yeah, I know, man. And
So they've got money. The NHS have got money for, remember we were talking about yesterday about like proof of concept
yeah,
systems, and they got like £1 million budgets for that, but they don't have money to fund nurses and things like that.
yeah, and all the healthcare profession,
Yeah.
and that's where the frontline staff is and are needed to do the work and what actually matters to people, especially with social care, as it's getting more complex in this, in UK, given the political circumstances. It's always has been complex, but it's even more complicated now.
You know, as a student studying podiatry,
Yeah.
you know, you see those Chinese foot maps. You know that those diagrams with like, if you massage this bit, it will affect your.
I bought one of them for my shoes.
Yeah.
The
So-
insoles you get like what are they? Them acupressure. kind.
Acupunctures.
You know, you get foot
acupressure punches?
insoles with like dots on them, and they hit each area of the foot where like sends a signal to your brain to sort out this thing in
the
your
back
body.
or your arm or whatever.
Okay, I've come across those, but we haven't studied that yet.
Yeah, they're a bit.
But
dead,
would
to
you
be
say
honest.
that these alternative remedies or alternative medicine or alternative practices, would you say that from what you're studying now,
Yeah.
would you say that they might work or they definitely probably scam or?
I can't comment on it because I don't know enough about it. So
You're only in first year, right?
yeah, first year. So I don't know enough about it. So I can't comment on it to see how if it works, if it's effective or not. But if it works for you, then that's great.
So coming back to like the life as a parent thing, what's it like now? Now that you're studying, you're working towards your immediate goal, which is to graduate and become a podiatrist.
Yeah.
So how's it like now? You've got the goal, you've got the ambition, you've got your kids. What now?
Just reaching my first milestone, which to become a podiatrist, and then get established. So and then focus on myself, establishing myself and growing myself in terms of the next goals that I have, either to become a surgeon, a foot surgeon, or open up practices and stuff and whatnot. So like together in podiatry, at the same time focus on my kids as well. So focusing on their curriculum, on their character development, especially given the society that we're going towards to and becoming. Obviously I have my personal concerns as a parent,
Yeah.
as every parent does.
What's your why? Like, what's the reason you're doing all this now? Like,
The reason of doing
like,
everything.
What drives you every day? You get up. What are you doing it for?
I'm doing it because it resonates, because I'm a believer,
Yeah.
and I believe in Islam,
Yeah.
and that resonates with me well, and it sits well with the things that I have in my life and things that I've been through. And the more I've been through, the more as time goes past by, the more I understand and see actually what Islam is all about. I know I'm just a layman kind of
Yeah.
thing, but alhamdulillah, like the things that's happened in my life,
Yeah.
they have opened my eye and to see what Islam is. So Islam says obviously iqra, read, to become better, to
Seek knowledge.
so you could help yourself first, and then you can help others, your family, your friends,
Yeah.
and so you can give back to society. So, and that's what I'm aiming and trying, and obviously to please Allah, because at the end,
Did you have this why when you were young, before your kids, before your wife, before getting married? Did you have the same reason?
I had the same reason in terms of to become better, but the light, or the fire, should I say, hasn't been ignited or at its peak yet. So now it feels like I have 2 kids, 2 sons. The fire is like really ignited at the moment, and I feel like that needs to be channeled, and just to use that. And I'm still young, 25 years of age. I don't feel young. I can tell you that.
Bruv, I you know what, I appreciate that, because considering what you've gone through, and obviously there's a lot we can't mention on the podcast, and a lot of we can't
Yeah.
share. 25 is a really, really young age, and for what you've gone through, that's a lot of like the normal person probably wouldn't be able to cope
Yeah,
with
they
that.
probably crumble.
Yeah,
And I think it's a good it's inspiration for those who are in a similar situation to you, where they've either dropped out of college or haven't gone to uni, and they're struggling to find some kind of career path. There's always an alternative. So I wouldn't think that somebody who has graduated the same time as you did and started on the same, who worked their way up, going to uni, graduating, blah blah blah, I don't think they would have the same kind of ambition as like you have of opening your own practice or establishing yourself as a as a podiatrist. So there's always, it's never too late, and it's always about getting like whatever you're given in terms of opportunity, and identifying that opportunity and sort of just sticking with.
Considering what you went through at such a young age, as a young adult as well, it's quite commendable, man. And I know you've said this to me before as well. Like when all these issues are sorted out in your life, you'll be more open to sharing them. So at that point, I'd love to have you back on, and then the audience can actually see like what the backstory is.
For sure. At the moment, I'll leave them out on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, definitely, man. Abdul, thank you very much for coming along.
You're very most welcome, man, and pleasure to to be here, man. It's a privilege to be here.
Thanks for the chocolate peanuts, man.
Anytime,
there's
man.
like five. There's like 4 on the ground on the table. I think I'll take them, and you lot can have the clean ones. I've got a pretty good immune system, bro.
I got a sick immune system, man.
Is it?
Yeah, I stayed in.
Then you are
Botswana
really
Kitare bhai.
Any words in Bengali you wanna give us before we?
Yeah, he taught. You taught me my first Bengali words
Dur hala hala.
ever.
Bala takhio. Stay well, man. Stay well, guys. Stay blessed.
All right, perfect.
All right.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.